I do.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Behave yourselves!
Hello YouTubers out there, this is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So first of all, I just want to say I got over 2,111 subscribers, so that's pretty damn good for this channel. Of course, I've been trying to promote it as much as I can, and it's paid off. So thank you to all who have subscribed to my channel. I really do appreciate it, and I hope we can keep building a some sort of a fan base, a larger one than I've had since 2008, even though I joined YouTube back in 2005. But then I had to change and start a new channel, so for reasons that I will reveal later on, I think. It's nothing horrible, but just that's how it happened. But anyway, so let's talk about Martin Scorsese. Of course, he has a new film coming out, Killers of the Flower Moon. By the way, read the book, which I have right here, by David Gran. It's a very, very good book. Of course, the movie is going to be quite different from this. The movie will focus from the point of view of the Osage people, as opposed to an FBI procedural, which this book is. But it's still quite good. So worth checking out. So, recently, Martin Scorsese made mention of the fact that that he didn't particularly care for making Shutter Island, that he kind of wished he hadn't made the film. So I don't know too much of the backstory revolving around that, other than if you've ever read Conversations with the Time film critic Richard Schickel, who has passed away, Richard Schickel that is. But the book is really quite good, definitely worth getting, and it's conversations between the two of them about Scorsese's films. Shutter Island was not a enjoyable experience for him to make that film. But apparently he wished he hadn't, something he just recently revealed. So, let's talk about two films, briefly, that Scorsese hated making. And they are 1983's The King of Comedy and 2006's The Departed. Now, The Departed was something I believe it was a screening in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a few months, or whatever it was, prior to the film being released, at least theatrically in the United States. And he said he hated making the film. Every day he hated making the film. For Scorsese, The Departed is a B movie. Now, it's a genre piece, which he, interestingly, he sees Goodfellas as a gangster genre piece. Now, I don't quite see it that way, because as he said over and over again, Goodfellas is kind of the story of the mob from the point of view of the mob. And the story is their culture, in a sense, their street culture, the way of life. That's the character of the movie, which I agree with. That's what makes Goodfellas such a great film, and you know, it's one of the greatest. I mean, to me, it's probably the best mob film ever made. I still haven't seen a better one than that. Nonetheless, he doesn't really make genre pictures. So, and if he does, I think he resists it. So he tries to accommodate to his vision and the way he sees the world in terms of sin, guilt, and redemption. And this is why he's often an uncredited screenwriter in many of the films that he has directed. I think only a couple of times, maybe more than that. I mean, he certainly helped to fashion Mean Streets, Goodfellas. I believe he was involved in the screenplay and credited as such. Same with The Age of Innocence, if I'm not mistaken. But anyhow, but what happened with The King of Comedy? Now, that's not a genre movie. That's very much a black comedy, not masquerading. It's a black comedy in addition to being a satire, but it's more black than anything else. It is a film of a very obnoxious person, Rupert Pupkin, who is celebrity obsessed. And I guess because of the obnoxiousness of the character and dealing with that reality of this character, it was too much for Scorsese. Now, mind you, he made the film right after he did Raging Bull, which Raging Bull was going to be, he felt, probably his last film. He put everything into it, and he said, that's it, I'm done. I believe he said that he was quoted once as saying he wanted to make films about saints, or become a priest. But thankfully, that didn't exactly happen. Although a film about a saint, from Scorsese's point of view, I think that would be quite interesting. I wouldn't be against it. If you've seen Silence or Last Temptation of Christ, certainly he would be very capable of doing that. But anyway, so every day he had to, in his words, for King of Comedy, he had to reinvent his care for that film every single day. And he says, you know, why imagine showing up at a this is something, these are quotes from the American Masters special from back in 1989 that was shown on PBS. And he says, imagine showing up, you know, every day to make a film, and you don't care about it. What's it going to look like? So those were his words. So he hated making the King of Comedy. I think later on he gained an appreciation for it. Now, I don't know the veracity of this claim from IMDb, but apparently he wished he hadn't made the King of Comedy. And interestingly enough, he's not the kind of director who likes to court controversy either. King of Comedy was controversial. Taxi Driver, probably even more so, certainly, a few years earlier. And Last Temptation of Christ, of course, is probably the most controversial film anyone's ever made, and particularly Martin Scorsese. So, but that was a film he did not like making, so that's interesting. Even though he said Robert De Niro pretty much gave the best performance of any of the films that he has directed De Niro in. It's still a film, I think, that he kind of resists. It didn't come at a good time. He wasn't in the best of moods, but then again, Scorsese's always said he's been in a bad mood for years, and he doesn't like the way things are run in this country or anywhere, really. I mean, particularly with regards to the mob or something of this nature, a celebrity hound. And he just recently said, you know, that now there seems to be more Travis Bickles around than there used to be, which is interesting, and that's worthy of a video too, to discuss that. So anyway, King of Comedy, he hated making it. Now, the other one is The Departed. And like I said, he saw it as a B picture. I don't think he wanted to make that movie. It's not like Goodfellas or The Irishman, or, of course, Irishman came later, but it's not like Goodfellas or Mean Streets or Who's That Knocking at My Door? You know, it's not really cut out of the same cloth. It is a great film, but it is not really the masterpiece that some of his other films are. But it is a great film. So, you know, I mean, for me, Scorsese's masterpieces are Goodfellas, Raging Bull, The Age of Innocence, and I know there are at least a couple of others. There are more than just a couple of others, because I really do think he's the best American film director we've had since Stanley Kubrick. And prior to Kubrick, maybe Orson Welles, for sure. He is that good for in terms of American filmmakers. But The Departed, he did not like making that film, and he couldn't wait to be done with it. And I think he basically just left it in the hands of the studio, like, okay, I'm done shooting, that's it. You know, obviously editing the film and all that stuff. But he hated making that movie. So it's interesting. So it's The Departed and The King of Comedy. Two films he hated making. Shutter Island, I don't know enough about. I think that's also a great film. I don't consider that a masterpiece, but it is a great film. It's a great book by Dennis Lehane, and it's not an easy subject. But then again, Scorsese never deals with easy subjects, for the most part. So, those are my thoughts on that, and some revelations. And I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't before. Let me know your thoughts about The Departed, King of Comedy, or other Scorsese works, either lesser or greater than those. And there you have it. And thank you for the subscribers out there. And please subscribe to my channel. I guess that's all I can really say at this point. Let me know your thoughts. And this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.